Hi everyone, so another month is coming to an end, so today's video will be about my reading plan for the month of May. As I mentioned in my April reading plan, I had a bit of a fantasy burnout, but I think somehow in that 1 month after finishing Crossroads of Twilight and then reading some great books and also doing some amazing rereads, well, it seems like this reading slump or this fantasy burnout is about to be over. At least that's what I hope. But with that in mind, I do want to reread some of my favorite books again in an attempt to make sure this has been done completely. So for the first one, I'm going to do a second read for the first time ever. That means doing a reread of Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. I first read this one, I think, when was this? I think it was in the year 2017. So 7 years, almost 8 years now. Wow, what the hell? Yeah, it's almost 8 years since the first time I read Kings of the Wild, or maybe it is 8 years. I think I read Kings of the Wild in May 2017. So yeah, it's been 8 years since I read Kings of the Wild, and I think it is time for me to do a second read of one of my favorite books of all time. I remember this being fun, very emotional at times, and also the actions were incredibly well written. I think Nicholas Eames is the kind of author who can conjure a lot of emotions, various emotions in one book, even though the overall tone of Kings of the Wild was really fun and readable. I love this book, and I hope the second read will be as good as well, maybe even better. That's my hope anyway, and maybe this will actually motivate Nicholas Eames even more to write the third book in the series. And speaking of third book in the series, the second book that I'm going to do second read, it is the one with no end in sight, and it is for, well, the Kingkiller Chronicle. So I have read The Name of the Wind, I think 3 or 4 times now, but I haven't done a reread of The Wise Man's Sphere ever. And based on my experience with reading Patrick Rothfuss's books with the Kingkiller Chronicle, all of his books works better on the second read rather than the first time. I tend to enjoy them on my first read, but I love them a lot more on the second read. And I hope The Wise Man's Sphere will give me that feeling and satisfaction as well. Now, I don't know how tortured I will be by the end of this one. I remember being completely, annoyed that I didn't have the Doors of Stone when I finished reading The Wise Man's Sphere for the first time, and I hope the second read, it won't give me the same effect. At least that's what I hope. But yeah, I'm quite excited about doing a second read of this one. Just like Kings of the Wild, the first time I read The Wise Man's Sphere, it was in 2017. So again, it has been 8 years since I read The Wise Man's Sphere. So these two books, Kings of the Wild and The Wise Man's Sphere, it has been 8 years since I read them. And let's see whether my feelings about them will remain the same. Sometimes they change. And then after that, one of the things that helped me a lot in getting over my fantasy burnout is to read some novellas. And this time, in the month of May, I want to finish catching up to the Murderbot series because the TV show adaptation is finally coming in the month of May as well. So I want to read Fugitive Telemetry, and also, what's the last one? A System Collapse. So that's book 6 and book 7 of the Murderbot Diary series. And once I have read these two, that means I will be fully caught up to the entire Murderbot Diary series. And so far, I've been enjoying my time reading the Murderbot Diaries, but at the same time, I cannot help but feel that this would work so much better being adapted into TV show adaptation, and it is being adapted into TV show adaptation. So I look forward to reading how these last two books, it is not the conclusion of the series, but the last two available books in the series so far will turn out. And then let's see whether the TV show will actually be better compared to the books. I have a feeling it will. The trailer and the teaser looks amazing so far. But speaking of catching up, there are 2 more books or 2 more series that I want to try to finish in the month of May. And the first one, I think it is time to finish reading the Hyperion Cantos. So The Rise of Endymion is in my list of books to read in the month of May. I don't know how this one will turn out, guys. I mean, I really love The Fall of Hyperion. I think when I read Hyperion and The Fall of Hyperion, both of them became an inseparable entity. It's just one big book divided into 2 books. I don't know whether Endymion and The Rise of Endymion will be the same. And I'm curious at the same time, excited about it. Let's see whether it will come true. But yeah, I really hope it will come true because I'm still so amazed with Hyperion, the fall of Hyperion, and I really like what I've read of Endymion as well. So yeah, and then finally, if my reading slump, my fantasy burnout is over, then I want to finally get around to reading Into the Narrow Dark by Ted Williams. I have wanted to read this one since January or maybe December last year, but I couldn't find the time for it. And I hope, if not this month, then definitely in the month of June, I will finally be reading Into the Narrow Dark, which is the third book in the Last King of Boston art series. I'm so excited about this. I mean, people told me that Into the Narrow Dark and also the last book, The Navigator's Children, made the sequel series, even better than Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy. And that is an incredible praise from me because I really love the Dragonbone Chair. I enjoyed the Stone of Farewell, and also I love the Green Angel Tower. So if Into the Narrow Dark and also the conclusion that the Last King of Boston art, The Navigator's Children, can top that, well, I'm about to have another new favorite from Ted Williams and maybe in my list of favorite books of all time. But again, all of this, they are just reading plan. I don't know how it will turn out. It all depends on my reading mood and schedule. And if somehow the advanced reading copy of The Strength of the Few by James Arlington came out, well, I will be doing a second read of The Will of the Many, or maybe just dive into The Strength of the Few immediately. Again, it depends on my reading mood. So yeah, that's pretty much my reading plan for the month of May. And when it comes to manga, I want to finish 2 manga series. They are Black Clover and also Delicious in Dungeon. Once I've finished these 2 manga, I think it is time for me to continue reading One Piece. Again, it has been a while since I've read One Piece, and I want to read I think Eggman or the Egghead Island story arc and caught up to the latest chapters again, because this is just how I usually read One Piece. I tend to make sure one story arc is finished first, and then I binge read to the end. That's how I roll usually with One Piece. And then, yeah, these are all the books and manga that I want to read in the month of May. As usual, do let me know what you think about my reading plan and what books do you plan to read in the month of May. As always, thank you so much for watching and thank you for your support. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.